guys, welcome back to Gun Times. My name is Josh, and Gun Times, we tell the history of the gun, one trigger pull at a time. Yeah, busy day at the range here. So, you noticed I have a Savage Model 99 in 300 Savage. We'll get back to the gun here in a moment, but forgive me guys, and please bear with me. So, a couple weeks ago, our family lost our Uncle Michael Bozick. And Michael, excuse me guys, so many of you may or may not know, Uncle Mike was instrumental as far as my education on firearms. He is the one, when I was young, he was taking me to gun shows, he was taking me to gun shops, gun ranges, what have you. And I guess you could probably say there would not be a Gun Times without Uncle Mike. Now, Uncle Mike, well, you couldn't have any conversations with him that ultimately would not turn to guns. The topic would turn to guns. And you couldn't talk about guns very long, and he would bring up his favorite, the Savage Model 99 in 300 Savage. This was his beat-all, do-all rifle. So, Uncle Mike, he raised 4 kids. You could almost say 5. I was at their house enough growing up that I guess you could call me a 5th kid. Uncle Mike served in the Navy. He was a Navy veteran, served 4 years in the Navy, and he was a very avid sportsman, hunter, loved to shoot. He's a very avid reader as well. A couple of guys by the name of Elmer Keith and Jack O'Connor, 2 of the more prolific gun writers of the early to mid or early to late 20th century. He knew every word that those 2 men ever wrote. But as far as guns go, this rifle right here was, in his eyes, the best rifle ever made. So, Uncle Mike, we'll miss you. This is kind of why I am doing this rifle, kind of as a tribute to him. Everybody says goodbye in their own way. This is what I am doing. We'd always talked about, once he found out that I was doing this and talked to him on the phone, he's like, yeah, get your hands on a 300 Savage Model 99 and let's go to the range. And kept meaning to, but never got around to it. So, guys, if you have the opportunity, take somebody out to the range that you know enjoys the same stuff that you do. And you might not, because you might not get the opportunity to do so. And I, for one, I am going to personally regret that for the rest of my life. But I can already hear Uncle Mike saying, okay, enough of this crap. Let's get back to the rifle. So, the Savage Model 99 was developed in 99. It was an improvement over the Model 95 Winchester. But, so it has an integral box magazine. So what it is, it's a revolving drum and allows you to use the pointed 300 Savage cartridge. Now, the 300 Savage cartridge was developed, or was, I believe, 1920. So in the early 1900s, of course, with the advent of the 30-06, World War I, all of that, you know, the 30-06 became the workhorse of both civilian and military in the early 1900s. So then they set the standard, which everybody then tried to emulate, I guess you could say. You know, up until then, you know, most guns, and I brought this Model 94 Winchester as an example. So the Model 94, or most Winchesters, most of the Marlins, things like that, they had, under the barrel, they had the tubular magazine. And, of course, with that, then you had the flatter-nosed, rimmed cartridges, because you had to. I mean, everybody knows that if you put a pointed bullet or projectile in a tubular magazine and you bump it or something like that, well, hard-pointed objects against the bullet's primer, well, you can guess what would happen. You would probably have catastrophic chain firing underneath the barrel there, which would not be good. So then we get to the box magazine. So Savage came up with this. Now, they, at the time, of course, so, you know, the 30-06, now lever guns, which were very popular in the United States. Now, if you put that into, or a 30-aught chambered in 30-06 with a lever action rifle, well, guess what? That, to work the action, that's a pretty long throw for a 30-06, you know, for a lever gun in that cartridge, as they found out in the model 1895 Winchester, which was a box-fed magazine as well. So Savage tried to emulate the velocities, pressures, etc. of the 30-06 in a shorter, fatter cartridge. Well, as we know, they didn't quite get there with that. Later on, the 308 did, but the 300 Savage just didn't quite get there. Now, the 300 Savage, a lot of you may know, is considered the parent cartridge of the 308. So, that being said, I am just going to load this thing up. We're not focusing much on accuracy today. I mainly just want to show the rifle that my Uncle Mike dearly loved, and this is my first time firing one. So as a tribute to him, I am shooting this rifle today, and yeah, we're gonna go from there. So let's see if I can load this thing up. That first round is a little bit tricky to get in there. That one can be kind of a pain in the butt. So, and it holds 5 rounds. It's 3, 4, and 5. Okay. And then I'll make sure and keep this pointed in a safe direction. Now, one of the other things, and I don't know if the camera will pick it up, see if I put my safety on here, is the Savage Model 99s, right here they have, and I don't know if it'll pick it up or not, but there's a little round counter in there. So right now it says 4, so there is 1 in the chamber, and then it's telling you that there are 4 rounds left. So that's kind of neat, kind of a neat feature. So all right, put my earplugs in here and let's just see how this old girl shoots. Again, it is the Savage Model 99, and well, I do want to say, guys, later on when they made these rifles, they did have a removable magazine, and then you did not have the round counter to tell you how many rounds you had left. So without further ado, also I am left-handed, so you can see that this rifle works for either hand. So okay, all right, so I've got 5 rounds, I've got 1 in the chamber, safety off. All right. Okay, and that is 4. Boy, I gotta say, it might not look like it, but recoil is fairly mild with this rifle. Not a ton of it, about like a 243, I would say, somewhere in there, give or take. But yeah, fairly mild recoil, doesn't kick a lot, and it's kind of neat. You do have the box magazine. Now, of course, it's an internally boxed magazine, so once you're loaded up, the only way to get all of them out of there is you have to cycle the action, because you're not going to just drop your mag and be done with it. So, all right, they made this rifle in a multitude of calibers. The other one that I'd love to get my hands on would be the 250 Savage, which or 250 3000, I think, is the more popular nomenclature of that round. But they did make these in a host of different cartridges. They also made a musket version of this rifle, which I did not know until I did a little bit of research of this project, or before I did this project. So 300 Savage in the early 1900s, early to mid 1900s, took a lot of game. There was a lot of North American game taken with this round, with this bullet, with this rifle combo. And yeah, and I guess from further research, these are very popular in France, I guess, because France doesn't let people have, at least from what I read, you know what they say, well, how do you know it's true? I read it on the internet. But they don't let you have, military rounds. So like your 308, your 7.62 by 51 round, NATO rounds, they don't let civilians own those. So to get somewhat similar, 300 Savage. And yeah, all right. I'm just going to keep shooting it here. Uncle Mike, hope you're watching from up in heaven. All right. Okay. All right. And that must have been 5, and it was. So one of the other things you'll notice about this rifle, guys, there is no exposed hammer. So the 1895 Winchester did have the box magazine, but they still had the exposed hammer. Now the predecessor to this was the 1895 Marlin, which the 1895 Savage, which had the distinction of being the first lever gun without an exposed hammer. So prior to that, and again going back to the Winchester as a point of reference, so as you can see, it still has the exposed hammer there along with the tube magazine underneath the barrel. So the Marlin has the distinction of being the first without that. So again, these are a pretty nice rifle, I have to say. Fairly light, never fired one before. I'm impressed with it. I like it. So I kind of see now why Uncle Mike was so into this rifle. And I know I'm sure going to miss Uncle Mike. Again, I am saddened by the fact that I didn't get out here with Uncle Mike to do this review. But you know what they say, life goes on. I'll just have to live with that. But again, I'd like to point out, if you do have a friend or a loved one that enjoys the same things you do, take the time, get out there, and enjoy these things together. So Uncle Mike would have loved to have been here for this. He would have loved to have taken some shots with this. And unfortunately, I didn't get that opportunity to do that. So to all of his kids, if they see this, hopefully you guys appreciate this. This is my way of saying goodbye to my Uncle Mike. My subscribers, please forgive me that I took it on a more personal note today with this review, with this rifle. I hope you can bear with me and forgive me, which I know you will. You guys are pretty understanding people. But this rifle, like most guns that we get, come from General Coin and Gun Exchange there in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. We thank them for letting us borrow this to take to the range. Other than that, guys, I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. Uncle Mike, we love you. God bless you. Hope you're enjoying heaven. We missed the hell out of your 500-degree roast. Hopefully you left that recipe somewhere where somebody can find it. But that being said, this is Gun Time signing out. Thanks for watching.